Recently, Hendrick Motorsports released some unexpected news. They made a statement that might spell trouble for NASCAR. For the past 2 years, NASCAR and the teams have been negotiating a new charter deal. This deal is significant since the present one will expire shortly. NASCAR set a deadline for the teams to sign the agreement, which was met by 13 of the 15 teams. Hendrick Motorsports was one of the teams that signed, but the team's owner, Rick Hendrick, made an unexpected statement. He only signed the pact because he was weary. When someone as powerful as Rick Hendrick makes a statement like this, it raises questions. NASCAR is one of the most popular sports in the United States, with Rick Hendrick's cars winning more races than any other. His statement that he just signed because he was exhausted indicates that there may be deeper concerns. It appears like NASCAR is placing a lot of pressure on the teams to sign the deal, even if they are unhappy with the conditions. Many of the teams that signed the pact claimed they didn't have much choice. NASCAR made it appear as if they had to sign the deal or they would be excluded. The teams felt compelled to sign because they needed to be a part of NASCAR in order to survive. Nonetheless, they are dissatisfied with the agreement. The teams claim NASCAR coerced them into an unfavorable agreement. When asked why he signed NASCAR's new charter agreement, Rick Hendrick was open and honest. According to Jenna Fryer of the Associated Press, the owner of Hendrick Motorsports stated why he signed the new arrangement. "I was just tired," Hendrick explained. Other owners, most drivers, and all fans are likely to share this sentiment, given the charter agreement is still in the works. Hendrick was one of 13 owners that signed the new pact before the playoff opener at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 2 teams, 23XI Racing and Front Row Racing, did not sign the new deal, which follows 2 years of discussions. According to the Associated Press, teams requested 4 things from the new charter deal: a higher percentage of money, a voice at the table for governance concerns, a reduction in corporate arrangements with NASCAR that leverage team or driver image, and permanent charters. The latest offer did not include permanent charters, and teams told the Associated Press it was given as a take-it-or-leave-it final offer. Brad Keselowski, owner of RFK Racing, spoke out about the discussions. He said that he felt compelled to sign the agreement as well. "Now we know we want to run NASCAR for a long time to come, and signing the charter agreement is, a statement to our commitment to doing just that. So, we've got great plans for the sport and are excited to see that continue on for quite some time. One of these agreements is only good when everybody's just a little bit jaded. And, I think there are things we would like to have better. But it's hard to use the word fair. I don't know if I know what that means." A writer from The Athletic, Jeff Gluck, talked with several of the team owners. He stated that the team owners believed NASCAR was using threats to get them to sign the deal. 13 of the 15 team owners were unhappy, but they followed through. We have posted a story on The Athletic with a bunch of quotes from various team owners, most of whom did not want to be identified for fear of retribution. "It's been compared to putting a gun to our head," one said. "Communist regime." A team owner did compare NASCAR to a communist regime. That's how bad they felt pressed. Despite feeling pressurized, the teams signed the pact. However, not every team has signed. 2 teams, 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports, declined to sign. 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports declined to sign the deal because they believed NASCAR was unfair. They said the teams were not given adequate time to discuss the deal. Bob Jenkins, the owner of Front Row Motorsports, claimed NASCAR handed them a 5-page paper at 6 p.m. and asked them to sign it before midnight. Bob Jenkins wasn't pleased about this. He said that it was unreasonable to ask someone to sign such a lengthy paper in such a short period. Bob also believed NASCAR wasn't bargaining in good faith. Following the deadline, 23XI Racing issued a statement explaining their decision. The team claimed they did not have enough time to negotiate the charter deal equitably. They also stated that they had alerted NASCAR about the concerns they wished to discuss, but that NASCAR did not offer them the opportunity to do so. 23XI Racing want to engage in constructive discussions with NASCAR to fix the concerns. The team made it plain that they are dedicated to competing at the top level, but they also feel NASCAR should reward teams more equitably. Denny Hamlin and Curtis Polk co-own 23XI Racing. Both have been quite open about the discussions. The teams, notably 23XI Racing, want to be valued more by NASCAR. Under the existing arrangement, NASCAR pays each team around $5 million. In the revised deal, the clubs would receive around $8.5 million. Despite the boost, the teams demand more. They seek permanent charters that will give them greater independence from their backers. A permanent charter would provide more stability and make future planning simpler. NASCAR has always been a sport of fierce competitiveness and emotion, both on and off the track. The relationship between NASCAR and the teams has developed over time, but recent changes appear to have put it to the test. The charter discussions have revealed deeper difficulties that many clubs believe have been boiling beneath the surface for some time. As NASCAR expands as a business, the balance of power between teams and the governing body has become a hot subject. One of the team's primary complaints is how NASCAR distributes income. Teams spend millions of dollars each year to prepare their vehicles, hire elite drivers, and get sponsorships. However, when it comes to profit sharing, the teams believe they are being shortchanged. NASCAR earns a significant percentage of its revenue from ticket sales, TV rights, and merchandising. However, the majority of that cash goes to NASCAR, with the teams receiving only a little percentage. Aside from the money, there is unhappiness with NASCAR's amount of control over the sport. Teams have expressed a wish to have greater input over how the sport is handled, particularly in terms of rule revisions. NASCAR frequently implements new regulations or modifies old ones, sometimes without consulting the teams. This lack of communication and collaboration is frustrating for the teams, who think they should have a larger say in molding the sport's future. After all, they are the ones that compete and invest in making the sport a success. The expanding power of sponsorships complicates the matter further. Sponsors are an important aspect of a team's financial stability, but the existing arrangement makes clubs unduly reliant on them. A more balanced revenue-sharing approach might reduce this reliance, allowing teams to function with greater financial certainty even without major sponsorship deals. This might also make the sport more accessible to smaller teams who struggle to attract big-name sponsors, so leveling the playing field throughout NASCAR. Curtis Polk, a co-owner of 23XI Racing, expressed his opinions on the new deal. He claimed that the contract stripped teams of important rights and denied them a fair chance to negotiate. Curtis feels NASCAR wields too much control and influence over the sport throughout the charter process. He compared the scenario to David versus Goliath. NASCAR wields absolute authority, and the teams struggle to make their views heard. Curtis's use of terms like bargaining power and essential rights suggests that 23XI Racing may be preparing for a court battle. Denny Hamlin, another 23XI Racing co-owner, expressed his frustration. He feels that teams have played an important part in the development of the sport, and that spectators attend races to watch the drivers rather than the cars. But I think it's more just a frustration of the lack of acknowledgement that the teams have built the sport, that the Hendrick and Gibbs putting superstars on the racetrack, that is what has built the sport. You know, fans do not come to see cars going around in circles. If they did, then we would sell out ARCA races, but they don't. They come to sell out on Sunday to watch Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. So, who provides them the cars? That's the teams. Who spends the money? That's the teams. Whose sponsors buy suites? That's the teams. Whose sponsors are activating their midway? The teams. That's the tough part that they just don't value. Now that 23XI Racing has declined to sign the agreement, what happens next? Jeff Gluck offers his own opinions on what may happen. He believes 23XI Racing may challenge NASCAR to court to obtain a settlement or get NASCAR to make the modifications they need. In theory, they could be going like, you know what? We're going to go all the way with this. We're going to stretch this all the way out, because if they say, we're now going to take this to the legal system, go ahead, you take our charters. Number one, NASCAR, what immediately is going to happen if they take the charters is the headline is going to say, NASCAR takes $100 million worth of charters from Michael Jordan's team. Right? That would be the big thing. Then it will be Michael Jordan suing Michael Jordan's team, suing NASCAR in federal court, right? That would be the next thing, some antitrust suit. And if that is not settled, NASCAR would suddenly have to go and open their books, and there'd be all these financial revelations coming out. What do you think? Will they eventually come to an agreement? And what about those Hendrick comments? Are they all being coerced into signing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.